Hi guys, this is Irene, and as you can see from the title, I've titled this video One Phrase, Four Words, and I'm going to try to make this video not super long. I'm going to try to make it a little bit quick for you guys, but I've just picked out one phrase and four words, and I just want you guys to listen to the definitions of these words in the phrase. Listen to what I have to say about them, and also as you are assimilating your media and holding conversations with other people, I am hoping that you will consider what the motivations are when people use these words, the phrase, or behaviors related to them. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get into this video. So the phrase is talking point. And a talking point is defined as a topic that invites discussion or argument. Okay, so I had actually never heard of the phrase talking point before until maybe like in the past 6 months. A lot of you may have heard it earlier. You have to realize I don't watch television, and in my day-to-day life I don't associate with people who watch television. I know we're a rare breed, and they don't use the internet as a TV either. So I think this is something that's kind of like in modern media, and so talking point has become a word that I'm saying you guys, because I'm assuming most of you aren't like me and absorb more media. And so I started to hear like people I knew that watched television, and I'd be talking to them about this or that, or they'd be sharing things with me, and I would think, oh, that's such an interesting phrase. Like, I've never heard that. That's so different. And then when I started doing research for these videos, I started to hear that the media was saying it. And I was like, oh, that's why all these people are using this phrase. This is a common phrase. You know, this is a very common phrase. So I thought it was interesting because I found that the talking points are kind of rhetoric that is repeated over and over and over again. And I found it interesting when I started making my videos that even in the discussions, in the description boxes, people kept basically reciting the talking points that they had heard over and over. And when I would listen to lectures from either side, they would all talk about the exact same things and use the exact same statistics. And they all had the exact same narrative. And that brings us into my next word, which is a narrative. Okay, so you have a talking point, or you have talking points, and from the talking points you build a narrative. Okay, a narrative is the action or process of narrating a story. Okay, so you have talking points, and from these talking points, these things you keep repeating over and over, you start to paint a picture. You start to draft a story. You start to tell a story. All right, and this is what the media does. They use talking points, and then they start to tell a story with their talking points. And in these stories, they are the dictators of how the story goes. Okay, and their talking points are the box that the story lives in. So these are the talking points, or the four walls of the box, and inside of this box is the story or the narrative that they are narrating. So that narrating and that narrative is used for the purpose of programming. Okay, so they develop talking points, they create a narrative to go around those talking points, and then they use the repetition of those talking points and their narrative to create programming. Okay, and your programming is everything you watch on TV. They call it programming themselves. I'm not calling it that. That's what they're calling. These are their words, and words are so important. They are very clear on what they're doing. It's all of us who seem to not be clear on what's going on, okay? So, programming is to cause a person or animal to behave in a predetermined way. Are you following me here? There are talking points that are used to build a narrative that is then used to formulate programming. And the intent of programming is to cause a person or animal to behave in a predetermined way. I hope you're following me. From there, they start to create movements, okay? A movement is a group of people working together to advance their shared political, social, or artistic ideas. Okay? And I definitely feel that that is what is being done. All right? They are developing talking points that are used to create narratives so that you, when you are assimilating their programming, will be caused to act in a predetermined way. And then they further direct that behavior with the fabrication of movements. Movements that are built on the talking points and the narrative, reinforced by your programming. Okay? The movements are meant to shift your social, political, and artistic ideals. It's the whole point. All right? That's why you need to turn your TVs off. Okay? So it's so important. You know, in other videos, I've mentioned how disturbing it is to me in the comments that everybody is saying the same thing. They're making the same points. It's like humanity is so diverse, but you guys are all using the same terms, the same phrases, the same points, and you feel so passionately about them. Why? Why is that? And the entertainment is designed to amuse you. To amuse you. It's designed for your enjoyment. It's literally designed to provide interesting and enjoyable occupation for your mind. Here's the thing. What do most people spend the majority of their day doing? Being amused and being programmed. Tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me that I'm wrong. Tell me that you don't watch a lot of television programming and you either do it for amusement, like you think you're amusing your mind, and then you're also assimilating programming that has talking points and narratives. I don't know. I just want you guys to think, you know? Just take the time to think. I'm not telling you to shut off your TVs because I want to kill all the joy in your life, okay? I know the passive sort of preoccupation, the amusement, the enjoyment, the entertainment that television provides is something that's very hard to get rid of. A lot of us don't know what to do. Television is something where we don't even have to try to do something. We can just, turn off and do it. And even when you think you're turned on, like when you think you're thinking, you're not thinking, you're marinating and meditating, marinating in and meditating on the talking points, the narratives, the programming. And then we see predictability, which brings me to my video on Antifa and the alt-right and organizations like that. And how I honestly believe these are wealth-backed movements that people fall into because they are weak and they've been exposed to the talking points and the narrative and the programming, so they make easy targets, and then regular people are getting involved in what is essentially a manipulative and divisive tactic. Can you imagine if somebody wanted to control you and you just kept inviting them into your space? Here, I know you're a controlling psychopath, but come on inside. Come hang out with me for 8 to 13 hours a day. You do all the talking and I'll do all the listening. Why would anybody do that? Why are you doing that? Turn it off. 4 words, 1 phrase. Talking points. Narrative. Programming. Movements. And entertainment. You bring the enemy to your door. Heck, some of you are paying for the enemy to program you. You're paying for it. Let me pay for my own brainwashing. I literally had a commenter told me to go to HBO On Demand and watch a documentary to learn something. In what world? When did HBO become the authority for telling me anything? It's interesting because when children are little, adults say television is television and television is not real, and we know that. But here's the thing. When children are little, adults praise them for repeating what they see on television. So if the television goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and our kid goes A, B, C, D, then we go, oh, Billy, that's so good. Good job. Good job emulating what you see on television. And then at some point in their life, it suddenly isn't okay to emulate what's on television. Now we're all just enlightened adults that know television isn't real. But if you listen to yourself and other people, don't they sound just like the people on TV? Tell me they don't. Tell me every argument and conversation you're having with others that deals with the talking points on television. Tell me you guys aren't all boxed in to the same information that's repeated over and over on television. You tell me you're not. You tell me you're not. Just scroll through my comments. Sounds like something straight out of a news clip. My challenge to you is to be alert when you hear these words. Be alert when you hear the repetition. Be alert. And ask why. What is the underlying fluff? I can say, man, don't you want a piece of cake? That's one approach. I can go, man, something with icing. Something I could just have a slice of would be so good right now. I could say, I really don't like brownies, but you know, every birthday, there's one thing I always look forward to. It seems like I'm saying different things, but I'm not. I'm just trying to point you to the direction of cake. And these news organizations and this media, you think that MTV, BET, CBS, ABC, I don't know where everybody's political stance is. You think they're all saying different things, but they're not. They're all saying the same thing. They just take different approaches. They present the same package of dirt and filth, confusion and division in every kind of package. Because the more they serve it up to you and you just sit there and suck it in, the more likely you are to absorb it. And they just come at it from different angles. Same thing, different angles. Oh, this person doesn't like this approach. Let's try this approach. Oh, the direct approach isn't working. Let's try an indirect approach. You got to turn it off. 4 words and 1 phrase. You create your own talking points. You create your own narrative. You create your own movements. You're not a baby. You don't need to be amused. Having fun is one thing. Having something developed to distract your mind is a totally different thing. I'm not saying don't have fun. I'm just saying what sheep runs to the fox for entertainment? Why is the fox giving you your talking points? And I don't mean Fox News. You know, the lion, whatever you want to call it. Why is the beast narrating your thoughts, your actions, provoking your mind? I hope that as you go through my channel, you hear some things that you haven't already heard. I hope that that's indicative of the fact that I choose to think with my own mind. And I encourage you to choose to think with yours. We're not cows. We're not just a bunch of kind just walking around, following each other, mooing in the same tempo. That's like, you know, mooing to the same drummer. We're not. We're individuals. This is weird. It's weird that everybody thinks the same, does the same thing all the time. It's weird that you sound like a news anchor when you pose your arguments, or Ben Shapiro, or anybody else. It's weird, people. It's weird when you take leave of your senses. Do you really believe that men can become women? That sex and gender are different? Whatever side of the coin you're on. You've got to just reach a place where you disengage and you figure out who you really are and what you believe without the input of the elite. Without programming, without set narratives, without talking points that are clearly outlined for you over and over and over again. It's just a thought. I gotta go.